Okay, folks, we're back again. Well, finishing up the Panther saga. Yesterday I stopped because I was getting sleepy, among other things, and I had lost one of these periscopes, and right after I went offline, I found that it was laying right down here on the ground. It had fallen off the desk, and I didn't even know how it got there. So, yeah, I don't have any carpet. It should be easy to find everything here. Especially since, if anything, this room is pretty much devoid of anything on the ground. But let's see if we can finish this Panther and move on to other things. So that was the final piece that was remaining on the periscope here. We've got these two, the tiniest fire extinguisher of unusually small size is on there. We've got the cables that we're going to do last, that these clippers will come in handy big time, because the last time I did the other one I did not have these, and I'll explain to you why that's the case when we get to that point. Tracks went on really well, and we were putting on the accoutrement of this side. Okay, we did all these things here. And let's see. Okay, now we have to build this underneath stuff, which is kind of quirky. It's kind of quirky because it's kind of hard to figure out what exactly this is. And it's almost like a inner panel there between the top and the bottom. So it's going to involve that. It's also going to involve these little fans. And the little, hey Nordic, and the little shirtsen, the mini shirtsen, which I don't think are that common with Panthers. They're common with Panther Ds at Kursk. They seem to have had these, just like they also seem to have had these extended fenders, mud guards, or whatever. Pretty much at Kursk. After that, they just chopped them off here. They removed the bottom hinged part and said, you know, we're tired of these getting stuck in our transmission. But this is going to represent a Panther that's at Kursk. So we're going to leave those on. I think they look weird. I think the tank looks better without them. But all the ones I've seen of them at Kursk always have them. So they seem extra appropriate for this. This is kind of a weird color. I commented on this yesterday. This is almost like the color that some of the German tanks were painted in really late Africa Corps period, like in Tunisia. Not that it matters what color it was cast in. It could have been cast in pink. We're going to be repainting it. Alright, so we got this thing to clean up. How you doing today, man? I'm still struggling with neck pain. I don't think I have any neck pain. I just have like these bouts of... It comes back and haunts me. But I think whatever's out of place is back in where it's supposed to be. But I got leftover. I would have been able to deal with the insomnia okay. Because I would have just read something. And I either would have finished the book or gone to sleep. It's like a win-win. It's not like I don't like to read. I do like to read. It just puts me to sleep. thought it was going to say the color of canned nacho cheese. That's your department, dude. The cheese that comes in those giant tin cans. That's gross. What was that stuff, the Cheese Whiz? Where they had that stuff in the 80s and stuff. You mowed 4 lawns today, and 3 hours later I'm exhausted. Yeah. You always go to movies and get those nachos and if I get anything in a movie, it's popcorn. I mean, obviously, okay, let's back up. If I get anything to drink, it's a drink. And I'm usually sharing it with my daughter because it's usually who I end up going to movies with. I get a big one and we share it because if you drink the whole thing yourself, you might as well put on a diaper or you're going to miss half the movie. So I share it, little sips, get a popcorn, which generally isn't very good, and that's it. But the nacho cheese and stuff like that, nah. I mean, you know, tortillas and stuff, those things are like good if you get them like at a restaurant. But those dollar store special things, whatever they got, not my kind of thing. You're a brave man eating that kind of stuff they have there. And they opened up a nice theater here in town where they actually could get alcohol. Great. Now I just can piss myself and fall asleep while I'm watching a movie. Rick Nacho. That's right, he's Nacho. You underestimated how crowded a theater was going to be. Grabbed a seat hoping I'd have a buffet seat between me and the next person, but sure enough, someone sat right next to me. Buffer seat. Yeah, I used to know a guy that had the thing about not wanting to sit next to somebody else. Like, if I go to a movie with somebody, they're like, oh, we can't sit right next to each other because we'll think we're a couple. And I'm like, first of all, this is 1992, okay? That wasn't that common. And second of all, like, I don't care. You know? I mean, usually when I'm with my wife or my daughter, I want to sit next to them, and then we take that little rest thing and the chair rest to move it up, and then, you know, you got more space. The hell did you go see? What's at the movie theater? It's worth seeing. Nothing. I wouldn't want to go to the movie theater if somebody else paid. This kid told his mom he's going to the bathroom. But was gone for only like 90 seconds. He comes back and all you can smell is he just stepped out to fart and then he came back in. He didn't linger out there long enough for the smell to dissipate. You got the perfect Dungeons and Dragons character concept. A dark elf bard who plays death metal music. Elves. I don't want to play no elf. Pointy-eared jokers. Sure he's a dark elf, or is he just like an emo elf? Or is emo even a thing anymore? You got that 8 movie pack of all the Harry Potter movies 1 week for the next 8 weeks. My look was priceless after that. I don't know what it was a look for. I'll try to work on another priceless look for you. Just make sure you tell me what it's over, so. Harry Potter. I tried to watch the first movie, made it 20 minutes in. I'm like, is there no freaking physics in this world? 10 years later, I'm like, all right, I'll give it another shot. Because my daughter watched all of them. I think 15 minutes. I just couldn't watch it anymore. It's not for me. It is absolutely not for me. I'd rather play a Bethesda game. I'd rather go play a Bethesda game. I did play a Bethesda game. Baldur's Gate was a Bethesda game. Whichever one it was. The one that had that character with a hamster. With a battle hamster. Aim for the eyes, boo! Aim for the eyes! That was kind of a cool game back in the day. I think there was no Diablo 2 yet, if I remember correctly. So it was decent stuff. I enjoyed it all right until I ran into some freaking magic arrow wielding elf jokers or something like that and got assassined. Your assassins are busy in Florida. Pfft. They better bring some air conditioning. Brutal. And Friday is supposed to be, all these days it's gotten up to like 95. And the real feel has been like 30 degrees higher than that. Friday it's supposed to be 98. I'm going to shit a brick the first person that complains about it being cold like in October. I'm going to make a public ass out of myself. I'm being in some store and I'll hear some little old lady, oh, it's awfully cold. I'm just going to go off on her. Fuck it. I've earned it. I'm not going to lay hands on her. I'm just going to, It is miserably, excruciatingly miserably hot. Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but did the Germans use Czech 38s in Poland in 39? Absolutely. It was probably their best vehicle. It was their best vehicle, probably. Because most of their tanks were either Panzer 1s or 2s. 3s were just coming out. And there's one version of the Panzer 3 that was only used in Poland. And it had the running gear. I want to say it was the D. The Panzer 3D. It had the running gear, instead of it being the small wheels with the return rollers on the top, 6 on the bottom with the return rollers on the top. It was the whole wheel was big, kind of like this, but not obviously Inner 11. They only use those in Poland. If memory serves me right. And of course, Panzer IVs. When you do this, please record it. Rick and I would like some entertainment. Get myself into trouble. It's exhaustingly hot. I love it when people say, oh, I come to Florida for the weather. I'm like, what kind of shit show do you come from that you come to Florida for the weather? That's the worst thing about Florida is the weather. And the bugs. Everything else about it's great. Had an idea pop in my head while mowing that I would like to build an early war German tank in Panzer Gray. Was thinking of Tamiya 38 and get some early war German infantry figures. I don't know, those tank crewmen with the freaking evil if there's any evil bakers, it's the freaking German Nazi tank crewmen, right? Early war Nazi tank crewmen had that oversized like bump cap, like a shitty evil baker. It's like, what are you gonna put? What are you gonna put in those ovens? Don't ask. You'll find out in about 4 years. No, shitty evil bakers. It looks stupid. Four lawns, 94-degree weather. Yeah, well, that's not including the heat index. So, yeah, you're probably over 100. It's brutal. And it just, you're screwed. If you don't wear a hat, you get radiation poisoning. And if you do wear a hat, it's even hotter for your head. So, you don't want an early tank crew. Just thinking German infantry setting up some sort of vignette. I like the jackboot early German infantry. So I know you're still on the 1/35th scale Landia. Is Tamiya still the go-to for the infantry, or are there better infantry stuff out there? I know they have some infantry sets that are pretty freaking cool looking. Not all of them, but... All right, and these two are done. Okay, this... This is one from the end, so that's this one being pictured. And this one goes like this. And attaches from underneath. And it even fits in there, perfect. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And I'm not going to remove a panel or anything and make it look battle worn or anything like that, because I got to figure out how to attach it then, because I'll guarantee these weren't really attached just on 2 points. They were probably attached on all these points here, but they're not shown in the model, and I don't need to go back and remake those. Oh, the end of this one's almost missing. That's going to be fun. DML still to go on figures? Okay. I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed that you can't go to Tamiya.com or whatever and go Hasegawa, whatever, go to a website and you can tell everything that they make, and you can search by, I'm sure you could probably do it on some manufacturers, but the ones I've looked for, they don't have this function where you can go and see, okay, well, who makes these models? So-and-so. All right, let's go to their website, and they'll show you everything they make and what scale and what line. It, you know, because they don't sell to the public. So because they don't sell to the public, I guess they just decided not to put them in a catalog. Just seems... odd way to go about it. I'm used to, you know, you go to the hobby store and look through the catalog of some manufacturer. This one's missing a peg, so we're going to have to glue this one in place. And hopefully it doesn't shift on us. But like, if you wanted to see, okay, well, who makes, what other stuff do they make? You know, some manufacturers do, but like Hasegawa doesn't, Fujimi doesn't. I don't know, Fujimi might actually be out of business, and maybe that's why they don't do it. But I looked at a couple of manufacturers, and I couldn't make heads or tails. You got to go to like some other websites that are like fan sites to get all that information. Okay, while this is drying, while this is welding itself, it's stick things on the back plate. Grumbling grognard. All right, let's grumble, dude. Amen. In 2023, they should publish a catalog somewhere. Best place to find what you need from the past should not be a freaking fan site. Yeah, I don't know why it's so difficult. Now, I know that there's manufacturers that do it, but like, for instance, I may have gone to see DML, because when I worked at the hobby store in the mid-90s, DML was still kind of new. And at the time, they didn't make any 1/72nd scale armor at all. They were 1/35th, and they had some planes and stuff like that. Dragon, as we used to call them. You go to the hobby store, hey, let me see the new DML catalog. You go through there and show a picture of all the things. Oh, they're coming up with a Fuck Wolf or whatever. You know, so you would find out about all that stuff. And you go to their website now, and it is very difficult to navigate through things. It should be really easy. Okay, by scale, you know, all this kind of stuff. And DML actually is a nightmare because they make all kinds of different pro set and this etch. And instead of like, dude, just list everything you make in 1/72nd scale. Okay, Panthers, and maybe list 4 of them, okay? And then beside it, okay, this is the ultra set, or this is the detailed one with the photo etch. Just make it easy so that, you know, us normal people can go through there and figure out what exactly it is that you make, you know? But it's difficult. I went through like 3 or 4 different manufacturers, and you just couldn't, like, you know, because they don't sell to the public. You can't just order directly from, I don't know why, but you can't order directly from them. You got to go through somebody else that can drop the ball. I generally like, unless you go to a store where you can buy things right off the shelf, which for the most part, a lot of that is gone. And it's gone for years now, in my case, at least in the town I live in. It's gone for years where you can just walk up and see what you have. And that's how I ended up with a bunch of, why do you have these things? Well, that's what was offered for sale. You know, I didn't want to mail order things in the early 90s, you know. But so you can't really walk up to things anymore and pick up what they have. You've got to mail order things. And now I forgot what the hell I was going with that. Drink. But it should be really easy to, you know, hey, this is what we make. Here's some recommended distributors we don't mind you doing business with, you know, that we readily stock or they readily buy things from us so you can, you know, get things and then figure it out from there. But I just did a review on something recently and somebody said, oh, Italeri has re-released it. I'm like, how the hell am I going to know? I can't go to their website. And maybe that is one of the ones I can go to. But I was really, honestly, was surprised being out of plastic models for 20 years or 20 plus years that it was so difficult to find out who made what or what their new releases were when in this internet age, you know. Airfix makes a really nice catalog that I find each year at Barnes & Noble's, the Airfix Modeling magazine. I went to... Is it Barnes & Noble? What's the only one left? Barnes & Noble. Borders is the one I really like. I really like Borders. When Borders came to town, I'm like, they got specific military history book stuff here. Oh, cool. And then they went out of business. Well, it took them a little while, but Barnes & Noble, they have one in Jacksonville, and I went there last weekend to see what they had. They actually carried a copy of War Game, Soldier, and Strategy. The time before. So I'm like, oh, let me see what the new issue is. They stopped carrying it. Oh, well. But, you know, they wanted like almost $10 for it. I could buy it digitally for like $4. I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense, you know. And I would rather buy physical copies than digital copies. But, you know, the thing is a magazine is kind of flimsy. It's easy for you to damage or ruin it without wanting to, much more than a book. So I don't mind having the digital copy, but I don't have a subscription or anything because they'll do stuff like, you know, this whole issue is like, you know, Wars of Britain or something. So if that's not what you're interested in, you're kind of like, okay, well, we got to wait till the next issue. But yeah, I was surprised, first of all, to find that magazine there, and second of all, they didn't have it there again, but their military history section was pretty lame. They had some cool things in there, a couple trips. It's kind of in a common place that when we do go up there, the girls go to shop, I go and check out what they have. They have a really good used bookstore up there as well. It's literally the size of, what would it be? It'd be the size of, it's laid out almost like somebody's house. But the footprint of it is probably the size of a department store. It's really, really big with all kinds of nooks and crannies and stuff. And it's a used bookstore. If you find something there, it's probably in damn near brand new shape for like 60% off. So one weekend the girls were out of town, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a drive up there and I'm gonna spend half a day and scour every nook and cranny, not every nook and cranny, but of the sections that I'm interested in. Military history, World War II section, European history stuff, just to make sure there's nothing here that I'm missing that's got to come home with me, you know? Because something like, I don't really need that, but I'm not leaving it for somebody else, not at that price. And I think it came back empty-handed. Honestly, there wasn't something I needed bad enough. So I'm like, I'm good not going there for a while till they restock. Well, it doesn't say to glue this in yet, but I don't listen. I'm gluing it in. Okay, you're back. Miniatures, lead miniatures and stuff. I don't understand why there's some manufacturers that you don't have pictures of your molds on there. I'm like, okay, I am not a tech savvy person. I figured out how to do a YouTube channel. I am not a tech savvy person. I can post pictures of all the things that I do, and like, why can't you post pictures of of your stuff? If you want people to buy your miniatures, you got to have pictures of them. It's either you're not interested in selling them, or they look so bad that you don't want anybody to see them, and hopefully you can con them into buying them without seeing them. I don't understand what a third option could possibly be. Yeah, I saw that Airfix magazine, and I didn't open it up because I'm like, there's no armor there. But I tell you what, if I got back into doing planes, I'd do the Airfix ones because they remind me of my childhood. And no, they're not the best things out there, but I don't care. I want to rebuild that Stuka and do some other things that I didn't do. Okay, we got C9 and C8 come back here in the back. That's these guys right here. There are some good deals on books to be had online. Not every book, but on some of them, are like, you're selling it for how much? Okay, I gotta give me one of them. But the thing about books is you got to get them because you like them, because you're not going to get any money off of them anymore. Oh, you just reminded me. I got to send you some pictures, Nordic. I came across some pictures of some paint schemes for, unless you've already decided how you're going to paint old Scharnhorst, some color stuff for, she had some crazy paint schemes like in 43 and the Fjord and stuff. Let me know if you're interested in that. I'll send them your way if I remember. Yeah, half the time looking in those used bookstores, it's just seeing what you're going to find. That's like half the adventure. Just like I actually like going clothes shopping at the discount places, Not if you're looking for something, but just like, man, let me see what I'm not going to leave there for $8, Okay, I will. I can't guarantee that I'll do it tonight, but I'll send them your way. And it shows both sides. So when I painted the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau in miniature, 1/2400 scale, I like to run them as a pair, so I painted them both the same. And I believe I painted them with yellow turret tops. I didn't do blue because blue is Channel Dash, and Channel Dash, they have kind of a mottled superstructure appearance, which I don't really like how that's pulled off. Well, this is rather weird. Okay, maybe it's this one that goes here. I didn't pay this any mind because I'm like, how difficult could this be? There it is. It just needed to fit in a little bit. Perfect. Also, I'm getting an itch for miniatures. Hey, you're not doing miniatures. You're not allowed to. You told me. I have this handwritten note that you said, if I ever try doing miniatures, beat the shit out of me. Fly your ass up here to Pennsylvania and slap me. I'm on the way. Do you manage you're going to stick with World War II, consider Gettysburg at the regimental scale, something you thought about doing? 10 mil, we use Pendrac and mix lovely stuff, a lot cheaper at 6 mil. I don't know. I personally would, I don't know if I could handle doing something that there's only one manufacturer doing it. Now it won't fit in again. What's going on here? Oh, because it's this one. I wasn't expecting anything to be difficult after the work day that I had. Don't make me throw your ass across the room. Nah, I don't want to come up there now. It's just as hot as it is here. Nearly. It's so hot, there's no bugs. That's how hot it's been. The bugs are like underground. I don't even want to know what Friday's going to be up to. Fishing? I don't know. I don't know shit about fishing other than I enjoy it. I don't like freshwater fishing though. Although to be honest with you, a couple of years ago when we went to Mexico and we caught a couple of marlin and mahi, I'm like, just standard run-of-the-mill fishing just doesn't cut it anymore. The only thing I would not like about deep sea fishing is how somebody behaves getting out there. Because I have issues with people on boats. I would not call myself someone that is afraid of the water. I'm afraid of getting thrown off the boat. You've seen those videos where people do stupid shit on boats and they turn into like crash test dummies. And they flop around, they knocked unconscious and get knocked off the boat and then they drown. I'm not worried about falling off the boat and drowning. But I've been on 2 boats where people were doing shit they shouldn't have been doing, and I have trust issues with people. You know, you can have fun and not be a lunatic. And so I'm not real keen when when a ship goes on plane, because you got to really be paying attention when that's happening. If you're just goofing around or something like that, not a fan. So the last time I went on a boat, it was not one that was very fast, and I don't think it was even able. We might have got up to 30 knots, maybe just shy of 30 knots, and I was fine with it. And they behaved themselves pretty well. This is what you want this thing for. You got all these pieces that are under all this stress. And this thing just cuts it in place without twisting it at all. Nice. Yeah, I got trust issues. I'm not a very good car passenger. You know, I don't care if I'm in the car with you and you speed. I don't really speed because I don't want to get a speeding ticket. Not that I don't necessarily think it's dangerous. Obviously, we're not talking about going 110 miles an hour. We're talking about, you know, driving with a flow. But I absolutely will come unglued if you get too close to the person in front of you while I'm in the car with you. I cannot stand it. I cannot be inside my own skin. I've just seen too many things that, you know, I would just come unglued. So, I always prefer to be the driver. Always. Want to do stupid stuff? Let's play Xbox. Let's get stupid. The whole fun of fishing is drinking. And that they're biting. It doesn't matter if you catch anything. There's just got to be something out there. That's why I don't want to fish off a dock or something like that. You're hiding a beer like you're smuggling children or something like that. It's like, man, come on, it's just one beer. Oh, there's no open container. It's a frickin' beer, dude. I behave better with a beer than not with one. Old school Mario Kart, F that noise. I don't play Nintendo shit. Those pacifist games. First they crash on your ship, then they want to make these games where nobody gets hurt. F that. I want violent games. I'm a pacifist every day. I work hard being a pacifist. I want to be rewarded by, you know, committing genocide on the video game. You know what? I'm actually going to glue this in place. Even though it says just snap it. Actually, I will follow directions this one time. I'll snap it in place and glue it from the back side. You know, I don't like video games that allow you to do things that you do in a normal life. Like, for instance, let's make a video game. What's it about? It's going to the grocery store and shopping. Who the fuck needs to play that? You can do that in real life. I don't know why this isn't fitting in here. I don't know if there's a single redeeming quality of fishing. I want to sit around drinking beer. I'll do it in land, preferably in AC. Are you a bad swimmer? Power washing simulator. No. It's not a female car wash simulator, is there? Because there might be a redeeming value to that. No, I don't want to do something I could do. There's like a farming one where you can like farm shit. That's what you got farmers for, man. I don't want to farm shit. Yeah, I'm not scared. I haven't had a bad ocean experience. Yeah, I don't want to be in a North Atlantic gale, but I shouldn't listen to these damn Russians and their instructions. I should just do what I know best. Just snap in place. Just shut your hole, comrade. You put an undue stress on these parts. Let's take the very end off that's causing the undue stress. And now we'll put it in those holes. That's right. Go to town with that comment. I love the ocean. All right, and that's it for that. Then we got to put this funky thing. Snappy Snapplestein. Okay. Why are you not liking a bit in here? Last experience I had at sea was a boogie boarding and got blindsided by a wave that dragged my arse to the bottom and then dragged me up to the shore. That sucked. Missed the comment. Bus to town, so I can't comment. Love the ocean as well. My ideal home is within view of the ocean. Yeah, but she's a brutal bitch. I can't imagine having a house by the ocean, just like all of a sudden, just everything's gone. We live close enough that we can go to it whenever we feel the need. Still better than earthquakes, though. Those of you guys that live near earthquakes, I don't know how you do it. There is no way I'm falling into the freaking hole. And then, all the, shake and bake with all my toys. No thanks. I see this thing's going to be a lovely pain in the ass. Here. Well, we'll just sit your ass upside down. How you like them apples? Cockeyed turtle. Alright, and let's push this side in. We're going to leave your happy ass upside down. All because it's missing a peg. My last bad experience in the ocean was a close encounter with a 10-foot shark. I can't see that I've ever seen a shark in the water while I've been in the water. So I'm not really afraid of them. Now, if I was bleeding, sure, but... Didn't say it never happened. It just hasn't happened yet. I've come close to barracudas, though. Okay, nearly done with this big cat. Okay, time for the business end of the panther. The best part of the panther, the gun. I'm actually not a fan of those inner 11 road wheels. They just look weird, especially if you look at them for a while. They look even weirder. It's kind of like when you look at a word and it looks strange, and you stare at it for a while how it's spelled, and it keeps looking stranger and stranger, and then you can't unsee that. It's kind of the same thing. These inner 11 road wheels, they just must have been hell changing. But what you get for being a Nazi? Enjoy the pain and the acidness. Shark is your personal favorite creature. Really? You know, they don't care about you, right? You know, they would attack you in a heartbeat, right? I don't dislike sharks, but not one of these people that have like, oh, you have a pet tiger. I said, never befriend a predator. Here's the tube. I'm surprised it hasn't told me to put the tube on yet. I think all we got left is going to be shackles and those cables. Whale sharks. Yeah, those things are pretty cool. Those ones they have in Atlanta. Several of them had died, actually. We went there when it first opened. It was freaking... That's an impressive place, man. Disney ain't got shit on that place. And the second time, because the first time I went, my daughter was about... She was in a stroller. So she must have been close to 3 years old, something like that. And then we went again probably 5 years ago. Atlanta's one of those places I wanted to go a lot more. And then all the riots and stuff happened. And I'm like, I don't want to go to some place where they could just let people just like destroy a city and they're okay with it. Just like, well, we'll just wait until they run out of fire. Like, they tried that shit at Miami Beach. They started people jumping on one of those, on a cop car. They got a bunch of people on a cop car, all started shaking around. Miami cops showed up there and started playing whack-a-mole. Put an end to that. I liked Atlanta up to that point. Like, I don't want to live in a place where it's like, oh, you're on your own. Well, if I'm on my own, you may not like the rules I decided. Very nice public aquarium here in Salt Lake City. We went at a work convention to Salt Lake City like the year after the Olympics. So it would have been like, what, 2003? And I liked it so much, I'm like, man, we got to come back to this place. And we didn't go back until 2017, 2018. But went to Park City and wanted to see snow. And it was, of course, that it was like warm and stuff. But I guess it had snowed so much, there was still plenty of it on the ground, thankfully. But we had a good time spending a week up there. Way too old to be skiing for the first time. Not interested. That's when I realized, I'm surprised that thousands, tens of thousands of people that go on snowmobiles aren't dead every year. Closest one to me is in Camden, New Jersey. It's not bad. They have lovely, great hammerhead there. Saw it up close, beautiful animal. Love to go. Baltimore Aquarium again. Only once in the late 90s. I don't think I'd want to go anywhere in Baltimore. Well, we travel through Baltimore. We do it in the wee hours on a Sunday. And I'll say it again. I wasn't really disappointed I didn't go to Historicon. it's kind of good because I didn't go. So it's it'd have been a kind of a pain in the butt if I was upset because I still wouldn't have gotten to go. Yeah, I don't have any knee issues, and I'd like to keep it that way. And it's just going to be something that, I'm not going to have the skills for it, and I'm not going to get a chance to do it frequently enough to ever develop any skills for it. So it's just me spending a lot of money and being frustrated. You know? So we just like, okay, well, what else can we do in the snow? Tubing, because I love the snow. It's cool as long as I don't have to shovel it. I don't like the dryness though. That's really tough on me. Any part of you that isn't impaired in one way or another. Yeah, he's crippled all around because he's got something in his pants that's so big. The only thing I didn't like about going to Utah, is we had to fly over the Rocky Mountains to get to the other side. That was not fun for somebody who is not a fan of turbulence. So where doesn't it hurt? That's right. I don't rewatch movies. Considering that's my favorite movie, I probably have only seen it 4 times, maybe. I'll appreciate this. Okay, just make sure you say it in a normal way, not the Kevin way. I don't want to be on here next week waiting for the punchline. That never happens. I said 3 hours and 4 yards later I collapse. Okay, you'll appreciate this. I said 3 hours and 4 yards later I collapsed. They said, isn't that just World War I? I don't get it. I mean, I get the 4 yards that the front line didn't move worth a shit. 3 hours. I don't know. Maybe in 3 hours in a battle it only goes 4 yards. Possible. There's got to be more to that joke. Come on, man. I can't say any jokes on there. Mine would be, mine have to be in a more condensed audience. And then I don't remember them. The only one, I can only remember one joke, and it's one I'm not going to say on here because it's just too damn funny. Told to me by a girl. That's what makes the joke even better. Some pretty hefty marks on there. All right, this one's done, this one's done. This is still gonna need some work. Okay, I already figured out where the hatch went correctly on the last Panther, so I'm just gonna pull the last Panther out. No point in reinventing the wheel. All right, we have a little prong goes towards the outside. Should go like that. Okay, cool. This tank carried a shitload of ammunition for this gun. And this is big ammo. This is long ammo. Big, long ammo. All right. And one of my favorite things, smoke dischargers on the front of the turret. I like how they look. I really do. It's funny, speaking of Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of the gripes that I heard somebody was complaining about, they're saying they were comparing the fourth movie where a lot of people had a problem with the nuclear weapon and the refrigerator. I've only seen it once, so I don't remember. I don't think that's the thing I disliked the most about it. I probably hated that it had aliens in it, to be honest with you. But anyhow, they were saying, oh, nobody had a problem with the refrigerator, but yet nobody ever says anything about the submarine on Raiders of the Lost Ark. I thought, what's the problem with the submarine? Submarines spend most of their time going on the surface. If you're diving in a submarine, you're not going to go very far. You might as well just like swim, because you don't. That's about as fast as you're going. 7 knots, 7.5 knots tops. Like, what's the problem with the submarine scene? The submarines travel on top of the water, with the option of submerging if they don't like what the situation is. The only problem I had with the movie, and it wasn't even that the Afro Corps wasn't invented yet, because it wasn't, was that RPG. They should have just used something else other than an RPG. Should have picked something else to blow up the Ark with other than an RPG. Other than that, it was pretty solid. I remember going to see that movie. I went with a guy that lived behind me. Playmate of mine. I was like 10 years old. I was allowed to have playmates when I was 10. You're only allowed to have playmates if you're 10 or 80. Anyhow. Yeah, let's go watch this movie. I said, what's it about? It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark. I said, what's that have to do with Noah's Ark? You know, 2 of every animal. That's what I thought of. It's like, oh, it's got the guy from Star Wars. All right, I'll go see it. That's it. That's all I remember. I didn't know anything about the Ark of the Covenant. I'm 10 years old. What is that? Well, we got to draw out this barrel. Let's find a setter spot. Wow, that was too easy. Let's not get slacky. Let's put a legit hole in it. All right, then we will expand this. No matter what you do, it's impossible to get it right in the center. It's pretty close. All right. Slacking is your middle name. I bet somebody's last name is Slacking. Slacker. What is the worst surname you've ever heard someone have? And you actually know this person. Okay, not just you look up in the phone book and here's a, Peckerhead. Oh, there's actually somebody named Peckerhead. No, you actually know somebody. What is the worst last name that you know somebody that actually has? And this panther is just incorrigible. We're going to have to send this thing to the Russian front. It's behaving so badly. What is the worst last name of somebody you actually know that they have to deal with through life? But there is somebody named Slacker, MD. Aha. Aha. Sneezing for no reason whatsoever. Okay, we have this. It goes through here. Oh, they want me to put it a certain way. Well, I don't want to put the spot that shows this nib that I cut off towards the top. It's silly. The other side looks better. Okay, this one goes through here. Oh, we're going to need to get this too. Okay. This goes like this. And then this one goes through here. That sits in there like so. All right. It's obsession with making it gun up and going up and down. Like you're going to need to be shooting at an aircraft or something. Look at that. Try to fool me. I didn't fall for it. Where's that stickum stuff? As I like to call it. All right, and these shackles go towards the back. Back shackles. The biggest surprise is just how long this takes to do. It's a pretty lengthy process. Unless you just gotta throw things together. I mean, not really, it doesn't really present a problem for me. It's just kind of surprising. Tracks are the longest process if they're length and length tracks. Well, the ones I've done with this scale aren't bad at all. Once you cut all the pieces out and trim them, that's really the biggest. Assembling them is honestly pretty darn satisfying. And now when I don't know that I even tried doing the 1/35 scale separate link track thing. I probably didn't have the skill set to put up with that. I didn't have the skill set to put up with that. That's going to need to be attached on there. All right, I will be right back in a few minutes. Have I ever tried building a World War I plane? 2. I had a Red Baron plane that was given to me way too young. I must have been close to around 11 years old or something like that. And I remember when I had birthday parties before I was like 13, you know, where you're still having them or whatever. You'd always get like, I ended up getting model kits a lot. I remember getting like this NPC van that had like Luke Skywalker on the side of it or something like that. I get, you know, all kinds of stuff, but you know, that stuff's difficult to put together way back when. I remember getting a Fokker triplane. I'm trying to think what scale it was. I want to say it was 1/24th. It was something huge. It was something, well, let's see, the wingspan on it was about that big. I guess it was like 1/24th scale. Some Erdl or something. I don't know who the hell made it. I know how to put that thing together. And I was young enough that I wanted to build it and play with it. We don't play with models, you know. You play with models, they're not going to be in good shape very long. I'm pretty sure it's 1/24 scale. Red Baron plane. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, I got an Eschi Albatross D5 that I put together. Because they had a World War I range. They made a fair amount of World War I aircraft in 1/72nd scale. I just don't care for the Allied aircraft of World War I. I actually don't like the Fokker triplane. I like the Albatrosses. I like the Albatrosses. I like the Falses. Allied planes that I would like. I don't know. Newport 17s aren't bad looking. I just don't like radial engine aircraft. I just generally don't like how they look. They're too stubby. Edward makes really lovely 148th World War I planes. I think anyone has a Gotha bomber. 172nd Newport. Which Newport? A 7, a 17, a 28? The good thing about World War I planes is you don't have to cogitate about whether to put the landing gear up or down. You just build it how it is. End of story. Not a problem. Instead of like, should I put the landing gear up? Should I put the landing gear down? Now, planes always look better with the landing gear up. But then, you know, you can't put them somewhere other than hanging from your ceiling. I think I'm a bit too old for that. They get too dusty up there anyways. So I wouldn't want to do that anyways. This one's completely done. There's nothing left to do on this dude. Bye-bye. Okay, this has the turret hooks. That's the only World War I aircraft I've ever painted. Well, the Red Baron plane wasn't built correctly. And I remember something happened. I couldn't do it. I was just too young. Couldn't do it. I forget what it was. And it didn't even have any rigging on it. And but that Eschi albatross just didn't go together. Didn't go together well at all. Can make a clear flight stand that holds up the plane so you don't need to hang from the ceiling. You know, if I wanted them that badly, I could just buy the pre-built ones. They're not that expensive. All right, we need a paintbrush of unusually small size. But one that's not too expensive. This one should be fine. You mess with any of that Tamiya panel line stuff? Supposedly can use it to put panel lines and things already thinned black. Well, they make a bunch of other colors. I didn't even know this stuff existed until a couple months ago. Of course, I'm not really in the hobby and model building world. Been out for 2 decades. There's a little bit of stuff to trim off there. We'll do that after it's glued in place with a really sharp X-Acto. Graphite's what people used to use. Back in the day. Used to make paint when you have those stainless steel finishes on a lot of aircraft, like a P-51 or a B-29. They had like Model Master, I think, made like a set that you could like paint it and then you could buff it. And I'm like, you know, that's neither here nor there, you know. Not a Newport. Lufberry Spad 7. Okay, 1 machine gun. Yeah, Spad. That's the fastest plane. As a general rule, the fastest plane. Maybe not every Spad was the fastest, but I believe the fastest production aircraft. You know, not something like the Snipe or whatever that really didn't see action. Spad was really the fastest one. Spad 17. Sold all my Wings of Warplanes. I don't regret it. It's a fine game, but I'm just not going to get around to playing it again. There we go. Now, one thing I do like about this model, I actually don't know how accurate it is, but I do like it. Let's see if it's the prevalent. There's a little bit of a gap there between the turret and the hull. And that means when you turn this thing around, you're not scraping your paint scheme. I like that. And we got the cables to do. I should probably do this one without any cables. But I gotta fill in that hole. Let's just see where these take us. You can always remove them later. Okay, the one on the starboard side is C36. And this is where these cutters are going to come in handy, because it was very difficult to take this off using the X-Acto knife. And just like I did with the other model, I'm going to have to trim this stuff up after it's glued in place. So this should be able to fit here, which it does. And that's it, right? This is the other piece on here. That can go in the garbage. Nothing left on the sprues. Well, that didn't have the desired effect. Okay. Well, we got 2 Panthers ready to go. Ready to start their engines and burn to a crisp when they start their engines. Okay, well that's where we're going to conclude tonight. We're done with this Panther, and we will pick up next time with whatever else is next on the queue. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by.